Hello and welcome to the Fat Squirrel Speak. That sounded off. Hello and welcome to Fat Squirrel Speak. Today is Wednesday, August 11th, and this is episode 299. I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the FatSQRRL on Instagram. Thanks for coming over. You were supposed to come over yesterday, but I just couldn't get it together. I tried. I sat down, was ready for you to come visit, but I just couldn't. It gets weird, right? But that's okay. I'm glad you're here today. And in fact, today's better because the peaches are ripe, so that's a good thing. Did you get the did you get the crazy peach truck peaches? I don't know. I'm gonna get them next year. I'm not sure. But they are fun. It's very fun. If you don't know what that is, where I am, Indiana, and this corridor of states, I guess Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, and then some Tennessee, I think is where they are located. Anyway, whatever. You can sign up to get a 25-pound box of peaches. And they're very excellent. They're very all nice. They're very big. They have a good amount of fuzz in terms of as a peach goes. Our orchard sometimes gets these South Carolina peaches that are, they have beards. They're basically, I would say that they're sheep peaches, but that would imply that I liked them more. They're just really aggressively fuzzy. They're just not where it's at. But the peach truck peaches have been good every time I've gotten them. But this year they're taking a while to get ripe. I don't know what's going on. But I think you may have hit today and tomorrow maybe our peak peach days. So have some peaches. Would you like me? I could fry some up for you. Somebody out there is rolling right now. That fat lady's gonna fry fruit. Is she the state fair food commissioner? No, I'm not. My family fries apples, which means they put, I will tell you, this does not work with every apple. Ultimately, it only works when your grandma makes them for you, but my mama is no longer with us, and so I've tried to make the apples the right way. I don't ever get them right. But it is important that you use a softer apple. Golden Delish seems to be the one she always used the most. And, but anyway, so you just cook them in a little bit of butter. We call frying because it's in a skillet. So I don't know why, but whatever. But this year I was like, oh, I could use that to peaches. So I did it to peaches and it was very delicious. I had to make biscuits to go with it. By the way, could I just find any excuse to make a biscuit? I'm happy to do that. Oh, this gym's been open for a while. I guess I'm gonna need to make some biscuits. I'm the worst. But anyway, yeah, I'll make biscuits. Do you want me to make some biscuits? All right. Somebody said last time that they were gonna bring the scones, so I think we can make it happen. I'm just saying. I'm thinking the fried peaches and a scone is a little bit fancier than my people, but we can adapt. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be amazingly delicious. I've headed into the fall teas, even though it is my teenager is in high school this year. Can you believe that nonsense? Let me just, what? I'm not even kidding. But one of the drawbacks of having a child in round year school, which is what we call it, they go back the first week of August and they go through June, usually the first week of June, is that, it's back to school. So in my head, again, for the first 30 years of my life, back to school meant fall was just right around the corner. You had that first couple of weeks of school where you were just you were trying to wear your new fall clothes, but you just couldn't because it was there was no air conditioning in school back then, at least not where I lived. So that first couple weeks you're just sweating just like sweating profusely all day long. Just, but fall would come like quickly thereafter, because we would go back like September, the last week of August, you know. But anyway, so the first 30 years of my life, back to school means it's almost fall, but that's not what it means now. Now it means it's August, and you have to go through August. I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst month, but it definitely is. I know produce, it's really important. It's a very important crop month. But maybe it could be less disgusting. I'm just saying. So humid. And it's like that humid that when you open the door, like if you could, even if it's going to be 90 degrees, if you open the door in the morning and it doesn't feel like you're walking into somebody else's mouth, I can handle it. But when you open the door in the morning and it's already like swampy, I'm not made for that. I'm the opposite of a snowbird. I need to summer in the far north. I know my wool people. I know you feel me. It's that time of year where like the people in the north are starting to wear sweaters occasionally, and you just see pictures of them on Instagram and you're just like, like, not a new car, not a redone kitchen, just you wearing wool. That's what I'm really shaking my head at. It's just my friends who live in the South are like, shut up. I know. I don't know why you're living there. It's crazy. I don't know why you love wool and the South. You've got a rough road hoe. I'm not lying. But anyway, it's like a whole list of things to talk about. I wasn't going to talk about any of that I just talked about. So in this week's, okay, let's do this right away. In this week's episode, patron prizes. What? If you are a patron of the podcast via PayPal, Ko-Fi, or Patreon, thank you. Send it out, y'all. Bam. Thank you. But also, it's prize day. What? You're absolutely... Oh. I'll be right back, y'all. So, if you win a prize that I'm about to announce, please email me at fatsquirrelfibers@gmail.com. You can find it on fatsquirrelfibers.com if you forget. There's like a contact me thing. You can send it to the email that you send your PayPal thing to. Whatever works for you. But send me your actual human name. I think I actually have all your human names this time, but not always. And your actual physical address in the world that you receive U.S. mail at, or you receive your local mail at. Are you ready for the prizes? The winners? Sarah! No, there's a bunch of Sarahs. Sarah Ayers! You want a prize? Laura Ambrose. You're such a rose. Oh my gosh, you probably get that all the time. I'm really sorry. I was just trying to sing to you. But yeah, you want a prize. And Yona, Lakata, you also want a prize. I apologize. Maybe I did say your name right one of those 3 times. Ding. So yay, I'll get those out to you. Hooray for you and your faces. Okay. On to what's going to happen this week. Let's give you the outline of the day. So this episode will contain knitting, spinning, crochet. It'll contain shenanigans of the house, of the mind, not any of the world. It'll contain shameless self-promotion because secret. Halloween time is coming, y'all. I know it's around the corner, But I want you to get your bags in time for all of your spooky seasonings. What would be a spooky seasoning? What is, I mean, I understand this fall season. What would specifically be a spooky seasoning? I don't know. Do you have ideas? Pensies, get on it. But I want to make sure you get them in time for your Halloweening. And also, I just know that you're witchy in your heart all year long. Okay? Okay. And if you don't love Halloween, there will also be some more farm bags. I had a little bit left. Farm. It's not a farm, but it celebrates farming. It'll you have a few fair bags. Okay, let's get into it. Oh my gosh. Shenanigans in the house. What is up with that? Shenanigans in the house. Okay, so first off, garden. Okay, we came back from vacation. I've done nothing to my garden. Like I planted it, and that's pretty much the extent. Isn't it terrible? I've picked a few cucumbers and made some refrigerator pickles. Have I canned anything out of the garden? I mean, I have now, but I don't know that the last time we talked I had canned anything. I've been very resistant I have not gotten my pressure canner out. Confessions. I have not even gotten it out this year. I refused to get, okay, so, all right, I'll talk about that in a minute. So what else? Oh, I did get a bushel of corn and did freezer corn because, I live in Indiana and it's actually like a legal requirement to get your driver's license renewed, is that you do have to have freezer corn in your freezer. That's a rule. So I did that, and that worked out really well. Oh my gosh. My family are, and I'm not sure that I'll do this method in the future, but I was looking up efficient ways to remove corn silks because, right? Corn silks. And so I found this thing where lots of people actually boil their corn in the husk, because if you're going to freeze corn, what my people do, actually my people don't freeze corn. My family has never done freezer corn. None of my family has ever eaten frozen vegetables before, like I was an adult. I don't think. And I understand why. Like, because we are green bean people, and frozen green beans and canned, like, southern green beans are not the same vegetable. It's a trick. Don't listen. It's definitely a Fanny Australia, Fanny US thing. Like, they're not the same thing. But frozen corn, I am a fan of many frozen vegetables, but especially frozen corn. Like, it's a given. I can't believe I used my whole childhood eating canned corn. What? Right? Can I have those 30 years back? Or 25? Whatever. So... Oh, but I didn't realize that if you boiled it in the husk, when you go to strip it, the silks just come off, like, super fast. And in fact, I watched this one person on YouTube who has this awesome setup where they use what I think is like a turkey fryer outside to, like, dunk a dozen ears at once. Like, she and her husband do it, like, together. Like, he's on, like, cooking. Well, actually, he did the whole thing because I'm assuming she was holding the video camera, but you know what I mean. Like one of them was, like, cooking the corn. You boil it for 5 minutes, and then you just shuck it and take the ears off. They did that thing where they push the ears through like a bundt cake. For some reason, I just can't do it. Like, I can't, not that I can't physically do it. Like, it just doesn't seem right. Is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard? People swear by it all over the place. Like, right? You husk the corn, you shuck the corn, and then you take a bundt cake or like some sort of tube pan that has like the opening in the middle, and then you just jam the corn cob through there, and it like separates all the corn off, which then theoretically is just going to fill this pan up. And I don't know. I think those people might actually be witches. I'm just saying, because I can't. Those are farm witches. I don't know. But anyway, so they did that too. But so they actually like cut the like stem end off, and then just like the cob like shoots out the other side with no husks, with no silks on it. Okay, I couldn't make that happen either. Again, potentially witches. Just saying. But I did find it very easy to strip out. I won't lie, I was really worried about losing those like 12 kernels on it. Waste not, want not, y'all. Waste not, want not. So what I did is I just boiled mine in the husk for the 5 minutes, just like on the stove, because I don't have that really cool like propane turkey deep fryer, which I may now be able to justify the purchase of. Even though somebody in my house is allergic to poultry and can't eat corn, I need a new husband. I'm sorry. No, I don't need a new husband. I need a wife who enjoys eating food. Okay? Send your resumes, please. I'm accepting. You must be able to eat poultry and all of the vegetables that I eat, because I don't care about the other ones. Anyway. Oh, but so what I did is I just boiled it on the stove and then shucked it, and those silks come right off. I can't believe how much of my childhood I spent shucking the corn over a paper grocery bag from IGA and being so stressed out that I had not done a good enough job at removing silks. I just really should have been identified with anxiety very early on. We didn't know what that was back then. I was just nervous. I cannot tell you how much of my childhood was spent worrying that I had not got enough silks off the cob, or that I had not gotten all the string off the bean. I have issues. Anyway, it totally works. Now, the downfall is that I'm like, ooh, like this corn was not organic. Yeah, it was not. So I'm like, oh, that was, oh, yeah, it did probably just boil a bunch of pesticides that I'm going to be delicately freezing and then eating over the next year. So that's the downfall. But man, it was convenient. So convenient. So we did that. What else have we done? I told you about pickles. I did do dill pickles. And I didn't do like a fermented one. I just did like an overnight vinegar soak and then put them in the refrigerator. Because I've got to be honest with you, I've made dill pickles in the past and I've just not been pleased. These worked out pretty well. So I don't know if I'll do it this year because my vibes are off. But I mean, next year maybe I'll do actual sour pickle, like fermented full-on pickles. We'll see. I don't know. I need a pickle crock. Right? I can't start this without a pickle crock. Oh my gosh, I totally keep getting advertisements through one of my social media things. I can't remember which one it is now. For an actual like full-on kimchi slash fermenting, like it looks like a deep freeze. I'm like, I wish I were this cool. You're advertising to the wrong person. But I'm so glad this product exists. Do you ever just like click on the weirdest ads just because you want them to keep giving you the weird things? I've really gotten my Amazon ads to like peak performance. They are advertising me the strangest things that I am never going to purchase, and I'm kind of happy about it. I always forget to say that, but if you just watched an ad that made you feel less, that's what it was supposed to do. Remember? If the advertisement made you feel less in any way, that's not you. That's it. Okay? That's its point. You're okay. PSA. Did that. I did that. Oh, I did finally do some blackberry jam. The blackberries, there's tons of blackberries on our bushes, but they're just not getting ripe. What's happening? I'm so happy. We've just very laxly covered them with netting. But I really love that the birds have like figured it out. But this is why I advocate for covering them with netting. Well, A, we're not supposed to be feeding birds right now. Not you, us. We have a particular problem, which I don't understand right now, but with songbirds, so that they're telling people not to use their feeders in my county, so that they can try to figure out what's happening. Okay. Look at me. Look at that rant. I just cut it off for you. You're welcome. But like our better flying birds, which are our songbirds, aka not starlings or sparrows, have totally, they're able to get under the net, and then they eat the berries, and then I see them like when they hear the door open, because we have like a storm door and an actual door, and so when the actual door opens, so that they know they have still a barrier between the dogs and them, they just like they crawl out from underneath of the walk. They don't crawl. How would a bird crawl? They would be so cute. His little wings would be like doot, 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 doot. Anyway, they just like scuttle out from underneath of the bird netting and fly off. I like it. Anyway, we have gotten enough to do jam, which has been very exciting. There's actual fruit growing in my yard. I'm really excited. Do you think if I gave my mom a sour cherry tree for Mother's Day? I'm the worst. I mean, I could like give it to her for my Mother's Day present, even though she doesn't owe me. I could be really upfront about it. Do you think she would grow me a sour cherry tree? I don't have enough room. Look at me being like, maybe I could plant it in the median. I mean, if I'm responsible for trimming the tree that's between the sidewalk and my house, doesn't that mean I could plant a fruit tree? I mean, actually, now I'm serious. Could I do that? Probably not. Dang it. Maybe I should look into it. That would be amazing. I wouldn't mind at all if my front yard were too shady for flowers, if there was a cherry tree there. I'm just saying. Okay, sorry. Oh, but anyway, it's very exciting to get actual fruit from my yard. I don't know why that is really exciting to me. Because again, fruit's not a veg. That is not what it is. We have gotten strawberry plants, but we only get like 1 or 2 at a time. Mostly because I think also the birds are very excited about strawberries. There's never enough to actually do anything with besides eat once, like eat a bite and then like give a bite to somebody else. But then that leads me into the tomatoes and why I haven't gotten the tomatoes out, which will then lead me into shenanigans of the house. Again, subset DIY section. So my tomatoes, I weeded them probably right after we talked. And I had not done any weeding since like I put them in the ground, and maybe like a week later. Like my potato plants grow like they've like my potato plants never look attractive. Like they do for like the first little while, and then they start to get real like rangy and just like they can't support themselves, and so they're like I've just let them go. Now they're not weedy because they have enough foliage to block out the weeds, but tomatoes definitely were like a hot mess. I'd not done any pruning. I can't believe they don't have aphids on them. Like, I don't know what's happening out there. I've done so little. Despite that, I have enough tomatoes Now, I've not had any more than 2 quarts of sauce at a time, because if you've never made tomato sauce from tomatoes, it takes approximately 1,200 pounds of tomatoes to make a quart of tomato sauce. That's a rough estimate, but pretty accurate. Because you have to cook them down, because tomatoes are primarily water. So you have to cook them down quite a bit to make it really worth well, for me, to make it worth canning, I want to cook them down quite a bit before I put them up for the year. But this year, I prefer, you can hot water can tomatoes, but I actually don't have a pot that's like tall enough to efficiently can quarts of sauce, because you have to 2 inches of 2 inches of boiling water over top your cans, and none of my pots are big enough to do that, and then also hold more than like 1 jar. So I do pressure can my tomato sauce, but this year my pressure canner is still in the basement. I can't this year. Since the last time we spoke, my kitchen sink drain decided to block, so it like was not draining. Did we talk about that? No, because that's when I was doing my corn. It of course blocked while I was doing corn, like before. It wasn't the corn's fault or my fault. It was before it actually started. I just discovered it like as I was putting the first batch of corn like into the sink to cool enough to touch. So it clogged, and so then we tried to unclog it ourselves, and that didn't work. So we called somebody to come unclog it. And then while they were unclogging it, like we have cast iron pipes in some of our, like old houses, we have like half PVC, half cast iron from just like where over the years things have been replaced or, you know. So this was a cast iron pipe, and we actually knew that it had a hole in it last year. And we used stuff called rescue tape, which is like, by the way, amazing. Rescue tape, 100%. I don't own stock, not a paid advertisement. It's excellent. It's this tape that you stretch by like 300% and you put it on there and it just like sticks to itself. So it's just like real fancy saran wrap. Not true. But it worked so well. It held that. We tried like an activated putty that you use, like an epoxy. That's not right. Epoxy. But the pipe was old enough and like deteriorated enough that the epoxy just did not have anything to get a good hold on. So the nice thing about the tape is you can start it like far enough away from your issue that you've got good purchase for it to start, and then you can go across where you have that hole and then tape it up, and it's fine. Lasted for a whole year. Yay. But then when we had the drain run, it was too much. She gave up. She then proceeded to develop holes in like 3 or 4 locations. So we kind of just like didn't do anything for a minute, because my husband is very handy around the house, but he has this thing where if he doesn't like know how to do something already, he's very intimidated by it. Whereas I am like, YouTube, we could basically do anything. Not really. Like, I draw the line at like actual sewage and high pressure water. But this is a thing that's pretty low stakes. It is just a kitchen sink. So even if we mess it up, like it's just going to leak gray water into our basement, which is not finished and has a drain in it. So there's low stakes. I'm okay with this. But anyway, so we sat on it for like a week and a half where we waited for like somebody to maybe call us back about it, and like it was fiddled and fatted. So we basically had like a camp kitchen for like 2 weeks almost, where I was washing dishes in a wash basin and then like taking all my water out to put on the garden, which by the way did really highlight how much gray water I am wasting in my life. So much is the answer. So I really probably need to work on figuring that out, but not today. because we use the soap, that's fine. For the world and biological things. A dish soap, excuse me. Anyway. Oh, so the thought of like canning tomatoes in that was just, it was a bridge too far for me, because usually when I do the tomatoes, I actually, like, if I'm lazy, I just put them in the Vitamix and break them up. But usually I only like those for like chilies and soups and stuff. For actual my tomato sauce, I usually run it through a food mill, either like a hand one, or I do have one for my mixer. But if you've ever used a food mill, they're messy and like a pain to clean. And the thought of just doing that with like no running water, well, no, that's not true. We have running water. We just don't have a drain. So, I mean, hi. The best problem to have in your house, right? Like, of all the plumbing issues that we could have, that's my favorite. Thank you, universe. I really appreciate it. But it's still just like not fun to like try to like wash things and rinse them and get them clean enough that they're going to be fine for canning and all that stuff. And I know people did it for hundreds of years before. Okay, maybe not hundreds, because canning is not that old, I don't think. Is it? I don't know. Anyway, I didn't. I didn't do it. And so now my pressure canner is just sitting downstairs collecting dust. But we did fix-ish it. Okay, with my help and the help of YouTube. Okay, I do complain about the internet so much in the world, but oh my gosh, so much better than that Time Life series of handyman books that I did one as a child. Did you want those? Or maybe it was Sears. Somebody made a series of like DIY books when I was a kid. They were like hardback and skinny. And there was like a plumbing one and whatever. I wanted those so bad when I was a kid. Wanted all series of books. But now there's YouTube. And so we watched several videos on how to go from, because like it's cast iron pipe, and then the like actual stack where like all the pipes come together is cast iron, but we were going to replace it with PVC. So we really did not know how to go from PVC to cast iron. So we watched several videos about it, and ours almost went to plan. I got to use a drill and like drill. So what happens when there's cast iron, like what they did to join them is like, so there would be a pipe that had a bigger opening, right? And they would put this stuff called oakum, which is, I found out, rope that you would untwist so that the rope has like tarry stuff on it, but it's old rope that's like, so it's kind of like, whatever, it's just like packing material. So you would put that in it, and then you would use molten lead to join the two pipes, like, so there's like a female male situation, one fits inside the other, and then the molten lead, so the oakum keeps the lead from like going just like all the way down the pipe, I'm assuming, right? And then the lead is actually what just, so like dudes were like, and by dudes I mean they were probably dudes, were like molten lead, and these pipes are so stinking heavy. So heavy. I know that because I balanced so many of them on my body. It's like a 16-foot span of cast iron pipe that we had to remove, which also is fun because, so first off, you have to like cut through a cast iron pipe. Let me just discuss, that's not easy. I did not do that part. My husband did. He used a reciprocating saw and cut the pipe. I just helped steady things, and again, like held them against my body so they wouldn't do this kind of thing. The cast iron pipe actually did not do that because it was that heavy. I mostly had to balance it against my body when we were removing it. And so you have to cut it, and then you have to like there's several different methods. What we did is like used a hand drill an electric drill. No, we did not use a hand, like not this kind of drill. Like an electric drill to drill into the lead that's around the pipe, because you can see it. You drill into the lead, and the lead is very soft because that's a characteristic of lead. And then you drill into like circles right next to each other. And so it breaks up enough that you can then wiggle the pipe, and then you can eventually remove the pipe, and then you have to like scrape off inside. Let me just discuss. You like scrape off all this like oakum fiber and stuff. It almost looks like wool. Or just like jute, which is what I guess it is. Anyway, so like you scrape off all the lead and like get that all out, and then use this like rubbery thing to connect your new PVC into it. Well, we did all of that, but you can tell we're new because we didn't check to see if the thing that you put into the old cast iron thing that will then accept the new PVC, we didn't really check to see that that was fitted tightly enough. Spoiler, it wasn't. So we have a slight leak there. But there's a bucket under, it's fine for now. It's an unfinished basement. There's a drain right next to it. It mostly works. So then we had to like cut the cast iron pipe out in another place, and then like pull it through the basement, and then like take it out through a window. It was intense. And I secretly loved it. I secretly love that kind of stuff. My husband did crack me up though, because one section of the pipe, so the section we actually got out of the hub, little like stack, that section was like this long. And I don't know how our sink hasn't clogged every day. Our sink is not clogged the last 15 years. Maybe once it did, maybe. I don't know how it hasn't clogged every day forever and ever, because there was about this much room for water to get through in that pipe. The pipe is a 2-inch, 1.5 inch. I guess it's 1.5 inch, because they measure pipe by the outside or the inside circumference versus the outside circumference, which is really tricky because you don't have access to the inside circumference when you're measuring things. Anyway, that's just an issue. And also there could be like different standards of like exterior, like this, whatever this is called. The perimeter thickness. Yeah, that sounds like what it would be called. So like, why is it, I mean, I guess I understand why it's measured by the inside diameter, because like that's important. But whatever. It was confusing. That was something else I learned. Anyway, like this much room to go, water to go through. It was so gross and awesome. And it was stinky. Because, you know, you're opening up what is essentially like a line into the sewer. It wasn't like that. It was actually way less stinky than I thought. And I will say this, thank you for having masks in the house everywhere, because I could just put a mask on and I didn't notice it at all. But my husband was like, was equally fascinated by this. And he was like, maybe we could take it to like the university and they could like study it for like a core sample of the 100 years that this house has been here. And I was like, I mean, if I knew how to do that, that would be interesting. But I'm imagining that like the sediment did not start accumulating 100 years ago. Pretty sure that like 90% of that is probably ours. But also, yes, please do. Please wrap up this, like, it's only this much, but it's so heavy. Please wrap up this leaden, disgustingly heavy pipe that is filled with horrifyingly solid sludge. It was at least solid. So, thank you, universe. Thank you. The water that dripped on us was clear. That's all I'm going to examine. It was just from the sink. But like, it was horrifyingly disgusting. I love gross stuff so much, but I don't know where, I have like a line, but I never know where that line is going to be until I cross it. But luckily I did not cross the line during this experiment. But now it's fixed mostly-ish. We can never move. people's standards are too high now. Nobody is ever going to buy our house. Actually, I'm joking, but this is actually a thing I sit around and think about way a lot. Because, for one thing, we always get these stupid things that are like, we'll buy your house. And I'm like, yeah, you'll buy our house for like $1. And then you'll completely gut it, make it all gray, and put a marble countertop in it. And then you'll want to sell it for like $500,000 so then nobody can afford it. Like, that is, our real estate is like, houses are like free or they're $500,000. Like, I don't understand. What? And I know that that's something to do with people who are buying houses. I mean, I'm sure it's something to do with like the seller's mentality too, of like not wanting to have to deal with stuff, especially like if you're selling an older property that is not your property that you live in, like if you've received it from a family member who's passed on or something like that. Like, I understand that, but like there's also this, I feel like there's this thing that, and maybe it's like a product of like home shows, like renovation shows or something. I don't know, but it feels like as a person who owns a home, if you want to sell it, you have to invest like 100% of your property's value into it again in order to sell it, which just feels like really wasteful, because then you know that when you watch those people come into other houses, they're like, well, I like this, but I'm totally getting rid of that, and I gotta redo that. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's Friday. I told you I tried to record yesterday. Well, I tried to record in a different place, which means my stuff was betwixt two worlds. And anyway, but now we've got it. We've got it now. We're good. So if you are a patron of the podcast, this quarter, so the second quarter of this year, your prize, I did you all the same just because like easiness and stuff. So this is my favorite, one of my favorite fabrics, because it celebrates fair days. And I just accidentally talked about the fair a minute ago. All these connections are happening, y'all. There are no fried Twinkies on here. But anyway, so it's so cute, right? It's got this like fun kind of chalkboard background coloring, and then it celebrates all the funness of the fair. And I'll be honest with you, I got it for you last year to make your prizes, but then I was just too sad that there were no fairs. Or that there were no fairs, whatever. There were fairs, but there were not fairs for me. Why would I invest like $50,000 into this house to like make it buyable for people if then they're just gonna go and like rip out like $25,000 worth of that stuff, which then is just like a complete negative loss. Like, it's an environmental loss, it's a labor loss, it's a my dollars loss. It's just like, it doesn't make any sense. Do I just not know what's happening? I mean, it may just be that I don't know what's happening, because I'm just like seeing the world through media and not actually, like, I'm not actually looking at houses to buy or selling a house. But it feels like that's what's happening. I don't know. Do you have thoughts? Because it just really makes it impossible for folks who want to have a house. Like, I have a friend, well, right now it's crazy because there's like a weird housing bubble that's happening. But just like even before that, that's what it felt like. Like, it feels like nobody will buy a house unless it's like brand new. Which is weird. I mean, I understand it's scary to invest a lot of money in something without a guarantee, but like, it also makes it possible for people to actually own houses. Oh my gosh, sorry. This is something, I'm talking about something I don't know anything about, but it just stresses me out. Sorry. But this is what you come over for. That was not on my list. I'm sorry. Talking about the plumbing. But now we have a sink that works, and it's very exciting to me. It's super great. So yay. Also, thank you again to YouTube and the internets as a whole. I do appreciate that about you. Even if you are ruining housing prices. I don't know. Maybe it's not you. So I don't know if that's like what, but I have just been, I think maybe it's a seasonal thing where I get this fall mentality. And I traditionally am a person who likes fall spring cleaning instead of spring cleaning. because I'm like getting ready for like being in the house a lot. And so I am also like battling this like purge issue, like this purge urge. Do you get a purge urge ever? Are you a purger? By that I just mean that like I tend to want to go just on a spree and just get rid of like everything. I just want to get it out of my house. Like if I could just have an eBay person come in, like a person whose job it was to sell stuff on eBay. If they could just like come in and like just take all my stuff, put it on eBay for me, and then I could give them like a big old commission. That's what I need. Because I just don't like have the mental capacity to do it, but I also just want to get everything out of my house. But I also know that like financially, that's not something I can do. How do you feel? Is that something you ever deal with? It's not like the like, does this bring me joy? It's like not even that kind of thing. It's not like I'm like, I don't know if I can get rid of this. I'm like, no, I want to get rid of everything. Oh my God, it's so intense. I'm hoping that it's just seasonal and that like it will die down like as like it gets cooler outside, and like I just am generally calmer because my body is covered and there's like less sensory information for me to deal with. But right now it's real intense. Oh my gosh. But it is almost apple season. So, I don't know. Very excited. We actually already have acanis at my favorite orchard, but it is so hot right now. I really want to support my local orchard, but I cannot pick apples unless it is no more than 70 degrees. Now, if that means I have to get there at like 6 a.m. to pick apples, I'm okay with that. But I need there to not be a lot of humidity, and I need it to be under 70 degrees when picking apples. That's just, I mean, that's facts. That's just how this world works. Sorry. But I'm really excited. Are you excited? One of the antique orchards that I follow on Facebook, just realized how ridiculous that sentence sounded. I'm really excited about their content right now because they're starting to post. They're starting to post. How's it makes it sound like I'm following like hundreds of them? No, there's like, is it Weston's or something like that? There's a couple of Michigan orchards that have a lot of antique varieties, and of course there's the amazing Washington thing where they're like they've gone out and looked for they've like had other people, volunteers, go out and look for lost apple varieties. So romantic. Oh my gosh, somebody needs to write a romance novel about that. And maybe it doesn't have humans in it. I don't even know. But like, I could have pigs in it. What am I doing? What's wrong with my brain? Oh my god. I want anthropomorphic pig romance about lost apple varieties. I bet that sentence is unique. That might be a unique idea. Like that's maybe even rarer. First time. It's not totally. It's possible that I'm not, but I mean, that might be the first time that's been thought. That's pretty miraculous. TM. My idea. Anyway. The Lost Apple Project. Oh, and then one of you sent me this book about... Oh gosh, I have to show you. I'll be right back. Jessie sent me this. I haven't even sent my thank you note because I've just been so excited. But it is an entire book about history of fruit varieties. And it has apples, but it also has... Like, it's by specific... This one is about the Singana strawberry. Right? This is a whole book. I just burped. I am so sorry. How exciting is this? Oh my gosh. Life, y'all. Thanks. Right? It's called A History of Fruit Varieties, and it's by David. It's edited by David C. Ferree and illustrated by Linda Eads Chandler. And I am so excited to add it to my library. The Barcelona hazelnut. Oh my gosh, Hello Yarn posted pictures of her hazelnut bushes. Is it a tree or a bush? It's gotta be. Okay, this is probably not the time to find out. But anyway, she posted pictures of hers. I don't think I've ever seen what a hazelnut looks like. They're crazy looking, y'all. I mean, in its plant form. Obviously, I've seen an actual filbert. By the way, can we just go to filbert because that's super cute. But yeah, they look like little flipping Venus flytraps almost. They got this like frilly green. Oh, the world, y'all. Continues to be amazing. Let's talk about I can't wait to figure out what that timestamp's gonna be. Like an hour and 10 minutes. Well, let's talk about knitting. I have a finished object. I'm gonna put a picture of it in here. So here is my bending waist. Here is my underbust line. So hopefully that'll give you a clue as to like where this is sitting. It is just a smidge longer than my shortened version of the Springfield top by Cashmerette, which I made just by removing the bottom contrast band off of one of the views. So yeah, I actually am pretty pleased with it. You can probably see here the button band issue that I'm going to talk about or have talked about. I haven't recorded yet, so we'll see when that happens. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cute. Okay. And okay, so I had it in both. Did I tell you that? It's in sock and large wedge. Okay. And so this, okay. So sorry. These are all spoonflower prints. So, and these. This is an interfaced cotton. I feel like I should tell you these things. This is interfaced cotton. So it's interfaced quilters cotton. So you get your fun Ouija's. Right. Now, almost all of them have this print on the interior because, hello. But then I ran out. So one of them is sad. And while she is structurally much happier, she does just have an unbleached lining. So I enjoy the way she feels more, but she doesn't have secret witchy hands inside. So just, I'll make note of which one is which, but almost all of them are this. Okay, so then, that's large wedge size. Then in sweater size, so glad they did this print again. So this is, they had this print last year. This is Spooky and Sweet, I think. But they sold out pretty well, and so they redid it this year, but with different colorways and some different graphics as well, but it's in the same spirit. And it's pink. Cute. I love her in her little back costume. Right. You hear the foraging of the team. Of course they only came downstairs to eat. And so then the rest of them are Aran sweaters, so they're the big dudes. So I have this print in two colorways because I just couldn't decide. So cute. You got your cats, you got your crystals, you got your tarot cards, you got your snakes. Right. Cute. Your bats. Really? Did you? Oh, you just got Doritos. God forbid you get actual food. Oh, I can't find the remote. Just
did you think I just came down?
So that is my reunion cardigan by Brianna Moody. It is knit in Knit Picks Snuggle Puff in the Joey colorway. Okay, so I think I talked last time about how I hate this color. I'm over it. I'm back. I'm into this color again. Fickle, what can I say? Okay, I really hope... Okay, yes, it is called Snuggle Puff. It's an Aran heavy worsted weight. It's 142 yards and every 50 grams. And it is machine washable, tumble dry low. It's 70% cotton, 30% nylon. Is that all the things I should say? It's one of those like blown yarns where they have like a nylon tube that they blow the cotton fibers into. So I really hope that this does not pill heavily, because this is a highly enjoyable yarn. In terms of like the fabric, it has good drape, and it has none of that like ropey quality that cotton yarn so often has. It just is like fluffy and wonderful. It wears very easily, like it does really feel like you can just pop it on at any time. And I think it would be really fun to make a hoodie with, or just like a big kind of oversized sweater. And you know, you can never... I have a 56-inch bust. I can never make a big fluffy cotton... Fluffy's not the right word. I could never make like an oversized cotton cardigan. It would weigh like 9,000 pounds and would be down to my knees like by lunchtime. But this allows you to have the cotton, the good things about cotton, that, you know, it's machine washable and easy to take care of, but it's super light. It's so fun. So I'm gonna hope it does well. I originally, when I bought this yarn, I bought it to make, what is that one called? Mama's Teddy Bear is her Instagram name. Ainur, A-I-N-U-R. But Mama's Teddy Bear is her Instagram name, and she made this super cute pattern for Purl Soho, and it looks like this. And it's called Center Point Popover. Center Point Popover. And it's a really cute construction. And originally I had purchased this yarn in another colorway, like this kind of like bluish green colorway, thinking I would make that. But I felt like, I don't know why I didn't do it now. Well, now I'm kind of want it. I don't necessarily want it that color, but now I want to make that thing out of this yarn because it is super fun. I think it was just an issue of I was afraid that that would not be as wearable. That's what it was. I was afraid that that wouldn't be as wearable because like it would not necessarily as versatile as a cardigan. But now that I enjoy the shirt so much, I'm like, that does sound good. So I used 3/4 inch buttons that you can just cover yourself. Now I can't remember what those are called. Whatever. And this is like a Corey Yoder print. It's actually the print that my kitchen table quilt is made out of. Right? But doesn't it look cute together? Let's see, I did things mostly the same. I cropped mine a bit. I made a 3/4 sleeve instead of a long sleeve as the pattern is written for. And I made this ribbing, I think, for the edging. Did I say that? Yes, I did say this is a reunion cardigan. I think I made my edging a little bit wider. I don't know what I was thinking. I decided to make it the same width as the bottom and the cuffs, but that was a slightly strange decision. Like, it could have just been narrower, but whatever. It's fine. I'm happy with it. But one thing I did do, because cotton does not have memory like a wool does, I was trying to make sure it didn't get too stretched out in the collar. So on my last row, I did like 6 stitches down to 5. So for every 6 stitches, I decreased 1 for the for the non-buttoned part of the sweater. So from the V-neck and around. So that it would help to like it stinks when that flips out. Like, I hate that. I hate when, for me, I hate to wear something that I feel like I'm constantly flipping the ribbing over on. So kind of tightening up that edge, I was hoping would help that not to happen, and then again would also help it to maybe not stretch out as much. And I think that that was successful. I'm very pleased with how that is working. What else? I do wish I had actually done it for the entire perimeter, because the ribbing is slight, like my gauge was just slightly off. So the ribbing, I actually have a few too many stitches in. So it does kind of want to ripple a little bit, but I don't think it's worth worrying about. If I wanted to, I could always take out the bind off and just redo that last row to make it a little bit snugger, but right now I'm not too worried. We'll see how it goes. Those buttons do just have like a shank, which is not what I prefer for knitting at all, but I did really want to make the covered button. It's just called a covered button. Why did I think that was challenging? So what I did in this case is I just used some little clear buttons, and basically I sewed the covered button to this button just through the knitting. So like I put the shanked button in with the shank pointing out up and like through the sweater, and then just sewed that shank to this button. That was weird sounding, but that's what I did. So it's pretty darn stable. I've done it before when I didn't have these little just cheapo clear backer buttons. You can use like a piece of felt if you don't have backer buttons. You can use felt's the easiest, you know, but anything that doesn't fray you could use. I guess you could, I wouldn't use just knit because you do need a little bit of body to it. So like a felt or a little bit of cork, or if you have just a little bit of leather, scrap leather, you could use that too, although that would present its own challenges. But you could essentially make a button with the leather and just poke a hole through it. Poke 2 holes. And that makes it doable. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. It kind of has that, like, usually I'm not a fan of like slouchier or like oversized sweaters, but I think I like this one. It has like a kind of just like, there's a nice relaxed feel to it. So I'm hoping I'll get some wear out of it. I think it's quite charming. Oh, I didn't do my crochet first. I was just excited to have a finished object. Oh my gosh, and I have another one that is somewhere. Here it is. Guess what this is? Actual spinning. I know, right? Did you think I had maybe just burned all my spinning wheels? They're not part of the purge. I did. I actually made yours. So this is, okay, this is my stamp that I purchased from you know exactly who I'm talking about, right? My brain just decided not to work correctly ever. Katie, right? Where are you? Katie Greenbean, right? That's it, right? Yeah, okay. I just was like, green bean, but what's the beginning part? Katie Greenbean has a line of stamps. She has lots of amazing stuff. There's lots of beautiful artwork. She has graphic novels. She's terribly charming. And this is a stamp that I purchased from her that I use on the back of my tags. This fiber, however, is Merino Humbug from Beesy Bee, B-E-E-S-Y, B-E-E. And so this one I spun on my ladybug, and it's about 243 yards. It's silly to say about 243. It's somewhere around that though. And I washed it with my Tuft Woolens Vetiver, Cedar and Vetiver. whatever. The one that's got vetiver in it is the best. It's my favorite of the Tuft Woolen soaps. And it is very nice. I'm very enamored with it. It's just a natural, but it's nothing fancy. It's highly imperfect. But like that's what handspun is, right? It's just a joy in its of itself. Handspun. Great. Apparently last week I just needed to tell you that I was not feeling my knitting, and now I'm okay again. Or at least I'm on the road to being okay again. Because I'm sure it does. Somebody suggests like maybe it has something to do with the weather, and I do think it has a good amount to do with the weather. And just like general like malaise. Hello. But it's so squishy. And I usually don't like to spin merino. But this was actually quite enjoyable. So sometimes there are fibers that I like to spin undyed, and I don't necessarily like to spin them when they're dyed. Or it may just be an issue of like me trying to make it like a different yarn than I can spin with it. So that's possible, but I should definitely give merino some more chances. But also not. There's a million other fibers. I mean, merino, everybody loves you. I gotta love other people. It's okay, merino. It's okay. I just want to also announce that I have not bought any fleeces, even though there are a million on the Raw Wool Facebook group. I've not bought any, and I'm just want y'all to know, because it's really a good thing that that's not something you can just easily add into a cart and purchase, because I would have. Thank goodness you have to like message somebody. That's, for some reason for me, that's really hard to do. So luckily that's a good stopping point for me. So yeah, I've not bought any more fleeces. And I'm actually spinning on something else. And in fact, I finished something else that just needs to be plied. I did finish my my spingles. Spingles. Gosh, that's such a cute name for them. Spingles. I have my crazy granny spike vest that I'm working on. I do have the zipper almost in. You can see that this side is in, and this side is being sewn currently. So I decided to just do like an I-cord on the edge. And at first I was really disappointed because this zipper, I just was holding it up and I was like, that looks like garbage. And then I realized that like, oh, I can cover almost all of that zipper. It's so easy because like, you know, that's a lot of that color. And so when you just hold it up next to there, it was like making it was like, oh, I don't want like a giant vertical stripe that's like that much contrast down the center of my body. But in this case, not that that's a bad thing, but just not in this case. But then it occurred to me like, oh, I mean, I can actually just sew right up to those zipper teeth. And really, when it's zipped, which it does still easily zip, I think that's easy to forget that like you can have fiber right up next to those teeth. See, it still very easily zips. And you can barely even see it when it's zipped up. And I did decide to use a two-way zipper because it is a bit long, my vest. Why am I having trouble zipping it? Because I'm talking to you and I obviously can't do both things at once. But when it's zipped, you can barely even, whoops, right? So you can see the stripe of the cord, but not necessarily of the sweater. And then I'll probably do the same thing for the pockets. Yeah, I'll probably do the same. I haven't decided entirely yet. I may not even put I-cord on them just to try to make them as invisible as possible. I haven't decided. And then I will sew a pocket. That's kind of been my sticking point, is like I actually need to just make an actual like fabric woven pocket and just kind of fit it onto there. I think if I just sew it onto the zipper and then fit the zipper in, that I'll be pretty happy with how it turns out. But I've not done that before, so. But I have lots of room to put a pretty good sized pocket in there. Should I film that? I probably should. I should probably try to film that. Like how I decided to do it ultimately. Because I did look and I didn't find a lot of, I didn't really I didn't find anything. So I probably just didn't see something that was there, but maybe I'll do that. Would you be interested to do a woven pocket for a woven zippered pocket for a knit item? You know, or for a crocheted item in this case, but you know what I mean, a yarny item. By the way, you definitely don't have to make a woven pocket. You can definitely make it knit or crochet or whatever. It's just I didn't want it to be that bulky because this fabric is pretty bulky. And I obviously could make it a smaller gauge, whatever. But I just want to make a woven one. Just to challenge myself. Crazy. Okay, so then one thing I showed you last time that I'm still working on is my Purl break cardigan shawl. This is my vacation shawl from yarn I got in Wyoming in Jackson, Wyoming at Knit on Purl. I think so. This is Farmer's Daughter yarns. So this is Farmer's Daughter, and I believe this is her Moon Sisters base, which has this secret 5% of like dark stellina in it, which is very interesting because you can barely see it. And this is the Mr. Pocket colorway. And then the like beigey colored yarn is Mountain Meadow wool, which is made in Buffalo, Wyoming. And this one is 25% bison and 75% merino rambouillet. I'm seeing that a lot. People saying merino and rambouillet like they're... Do you think it just means it's merino, it's rambouillet? I mean, they're very similar fibers, don't get me wrong, but like, it is an interesting thing that I'm seeing. Like, is it a mixed flock? I don't know. But anyway, so I'm almost done. I am on the solid color border. So I am very close to being done. Right? This is such an enjoyable knit. I don't know what it is, but this shawl is like a perfect shawl for me to knit. It is, I don't know, it just is. I've not once been like, I've enjoyed every bit of it. Lots of times when there's just so much knitting, I get like, oh, I just don't want to even work on that. But I don't know if it's just that little slip stitch or the fact that you're striping and doing a slip. I don't know what it is, but Stephen West's patterns are always delightful, except for that one. That building blocks one was not delightful for me. But you know, this is a pattern that's written on basically one page. And yet it's lovely and enjoyable. I don't know what it was about that building block shawl. It did not enjoy making it. It's a great finished object though. And then I started, I think I showed you last time that the amazing humans at Espace Tricot sent me their new yarn that's called Sunday Morning. So I have the 4-ply fingering and I have it in Wanderlust, Shh, and Simple. So those are my colors. And last time I asked you, there were several great recommendations for patterns. And the one that I almost knit was the, let's see, I wrote it down. Oh, my bike had her birthday. I didn't talk about that. I should talk about that next time. Okay, sorry. The one I almost bought, oh my gosh, was Rose Hip by Jane Ball. And I had never seen that one before, but it's very charming. So thank you for the recommendation. I did actually buy it. Because I actually started to cast on for it, but then decided I actually wanted this yarn to be garter stitch. But if you're looking for a 3-color one, there are several good recommendations, but I really liked that one and I had never seen it before. So I did decide just to go with the Stay Soft by Veera Valimaki. And so you can see that I have started the striping section and it's just very subtle. And so that what'll eventually happen is I'll have this wonderful, rich green as my contrast. Right. I'm really excited. So I'm very excited to see how this yarn behaves once it's all done. I'm enjoying it much now. I didn't tell you what the content was. It is 75% BFL and 25% Massam. And so it's 432 yards to 100 grams, which is retailing for $32 Canadian. So it's a little bit less for the US dollar. And they, did you, so many folks have knit the Purl Soho's triangle, half triangle, anywhere where it's like basically triangles that are two colors when they fold and have a skirt. It's beautiful. Beautiful. And so that's very tempting. One of the color combinations they have on their site, on Espace Tricot site, is this green with like the pinkier version of this color. Oh, so gorgeous. But I'm also like, do I really want to knit that much garter stitch? A lot of garter stitch, y'all. Like, a lot. Because it's garter stitch on a very fine gauge. I'm knitting mine on US 1.5s, but I'm a super loose knitter. So I think to get the garter stitch to look like that, I would have to go to a 0 for a shawl, which might be against my religion. I'm not sure. I'll have to consult my sacred texts, but maybe. Okay. So the rest of the podcast will be shameless self-promotion. So if you don't just stick around, that's totally cool. But if you do want to stick around, oh my gosh, Halloween bags. Okay, so the first one is the only ones that are not specifically Halloween but are seasonal are the cute bear ones, right? Like I have them in a sock and a large wedge. So, I mean, come on, super cute. Even if you can't go to the fair this year, you just have a little bag so you could just cry your little tears onto it. But then next year, you get to see a little bag. Maybe I'll have written my anthropomorphic bag romance. Anyway. So then I also have these. Okay. I love this one. How cute is it? Look at his little ghosty self. Hello, Pat. I don't know why those cats are wearing mermaid costumes. I don't know why the choice was made, but I am so happy about it. Right? So this one has a sweet little orange, red, and silver. It's actually silver lining. Then, right. I mean, I don't understand why. Again, I don't know why this choice was made, but I'm so glad it was. Like, this is, like, I don't understand these color choices, but I love them. People are so brilliant. And I can't remember what her name is. Oh my gosh. She has the cutest design sense. I mean, obviously you can tell, right? Hi. How cute is that? Are you dying? Now I feel really bad. My paper crane. Is that right? I think so. That's right. Oh. That's not right. Yeah, it is. Okay, she just changed her Instagram picture. Her stuff is so cute. And her Halloween is like the best. Heidi Kenny. And she sells lots of ceramic ware, which I have luckily never been able to snag. Oh my god, this frog is playing a banjo! Oh my gosh. I want that so bad. Oh my gosh. I want it so bad. Oh my goodness, this world is full of so much cute stuff. I've been better about being like, you don't have to have it. It just has to be in the world. Just trying to remind myself that, but oh my gosh. If that frog was there right now, buy it instantly. I would literally make you wait. I would be like, go eat a peach. I gotta buy this banjo frog mug. Anyway. Right. And then, okay, now this is a print that I am not sure that y'all are going to love, but I love it. So, I don't know. Are you as weird as me? Maybe. Maybe you should bring in a weird friend. Like, just maybe, like, just promote this bag to them. So I'm not sure if my range is big enough to get enough weirdos that like this bag, but I just had to do it. This is if you keep witchy in your heart all year round, faux show. Like, there is not a pumpkin on here. But how cool is this print? So I have this one in a sock, which is just the traditional unbleached lining, because, I mean, nothing's going to pair with that. And, okay, so I had it in both. Did I tell you that? It's in sock and large wedge. Okay. And so, this, okay. So sorry. These are all spoonflower prints. So, and these. This is an interfaced cotton. I feel like I should tell you these things. This is interfaced cotton. So it's interfaced quilters cotton. So you get your fun Ouija's. Right. Now, almost all of them have this print on the interior because, hello. But then I ran out. So one of them is sad. And while she is structurally much happier, she does just have an unbleached lining. So I enjoy the way she feels more, but she doesn't have secret witchy hands inside. So just, I'll make note of which one is which, but almost all of them are this. Okay, so then, that's large wedge size. Then in sweater size, so glad they did this print again. So this is, they had this print last year. This is Spooky and Sweet, I think. But they sold out pretty well, and so they redid it this year, but with different colorways and some different graphics as well, but it's in the same spirit. And it's pink. Oh, cute. I love her in her little back costume. Right. You hear the foraging of the team. Of course, they only came downstairs to eat. And so then the rest of them are Aran sweaters, so they're the big dudes. So I have this print in two colorways because I just couldn't decide. So cute. You got your cats, you got your crystals, you got your tarot cards, you got your snakes. Bing. Right. Cute. Your bats. Really? Did you? Oh, you just got Doritos. God forbid you get actual food. Oh, I can't find the remote.
Did you think I just came down?
Anyway. Oh, so yeah. So these are also, I should say that right. This is interfaced cottons. And these are interfaced with a, like, quilt batting, so they are chunkier. But, oh, isn't it so cute? And then, last but definitely not least, is a spoonflower print. I'm in heart with this one pretty hard. At least 90% of it is that green hand. I'm just really excited about that green hand. Such a good color. A little aubergine pumpkin. A little, oh, right. What? Oh, so cute. Look at this mouse. There is a mouse. But look at these mushrooms in their color combination. I want an outfit that's all these colors. So good. So anyway, I like making Halloween bags a lot. I don't know that any of them can really live up to the Pennsylvania Dutch Witches by My Paper Crane. I mean, like, that was so good. But I should probably do another run of those just so that I can buy more of that. So cute. But anyway, especially now that the farm witches. Oh, anyway. So yeah, that's what's going on. Oh, when is this update happening? It's kind of important. Actually, I think I originally was going to do it this Friday, but now I'm not telling you until Wednesday. And then, like, some of you don't actually watch the podcast like the second it drops. So, I mean, so I think I'll actually do them the 20th because I'm kind of behind. So yeah, I think I'll actually do the update on August 20th. So it'll be August 20th, 9 p.m. fatsquirrelfibers.com. That's 9 p.m. Eastern. fatsquirrelfibers.com. Thanks for coming over to visit. You should definitely take some sweet pickles with you. Do bring back my jar. If you don't know, if you're not a canner, if you are lucky enough to be gifted some sort of canned good, always return that person's jars. It shows that you're awesome and in the know. Like, it's also about being cool. You gotta be cool. So return the jars. We'll see, my canning this year is gonna be all of these bootleg jarlets I got. Because apparently the ball lid shortage is happening again this year. Which is exciting, I think, because that means there are lots of people preserving, which is very exciting. So I'm not upset about it. But I did have to buy some bootleg lids. So I hope that, like, in, like, February, they don't all just, like, fail at once. And I just have, like, a bubbling cauldron of bacteria in my basement. We'll see how they do. But, oh, so that was, okay. So, yes, take some peaches. Take some sweet pickles. If you want the dills, try them first. And then you can take those too, because I have more dill that's get seed heads on it. So I can totally make more of those. Oh my gosh, please take tomatoes. They're not like your fancy beef eater, like slicing tomatoes, but I'm pretty sure they'll work for that. But if you have a neighbor who has better tomatoes, I understand. These are primarily for sauce. You should take her tomatoes first, probably. But yeah. Okay. I'll talk to you next time.